Was the NCR song commissioned by my friend John Patterson, who's one of Dayton's great industrialists.
No problems are insurmountable. If you can accept the notion that your future is in your own hands, there is nothing you cannot accomplish.
I never could get a word in edgewise with that man. John Patterson was always making speeches, doing his best to coax greatness out of each and every one of us. I should know. He inspired me every day when I worked for him in National Cash Register Company, NCR. Back then, I was just Edward Deeds, long before I became Colonel Edward A. Deeds in World War I.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes. We have a few surprises today as we explore Dayton's rich tradition of invention. That's right, Scipio. Scipio's a part of our history, too. This big, lovable lug and Orville Wright are almost as inseparable as Orville and Wilbur. Scipio's going to run point today as we share with you some of Dayton's great achievements. Take a look. It was my idea to collect these historic pieces, among thousands of others, and preserve them here. But it took so many generous folks and organizations to build the park that you're enjoying today. Scipio, do you remember my old buddy Harry Price? I first met Harry when I was president of the Miami Conservancy District, our region-wide flood prevention system. Harry and the Price Brothers Company were crucial in supplying the preformed concrete blankets for reinforcing the levees we built after the Great Dayton Flood of 1913.
Oh!
We owe a debt of gratitude to Harry Price for his flood prevention work. And we owe a great debt to his descendants, Rita and Gail Price, for making today's presentation possible. That's why we built this theater, to highlight the Dayton industries and entrepreneurs that changed the world. Where would we be without all of Dayton's invaluable contributions to progress? People ask me, when did I know that Dayton would make its indelible mark on the world? And I say right around 1909. That's when we started seeing Dayton's name around the nation and globe. Wright Flyers, Stoddard Dayton race cars, Barney and Smith railroad cars, Davis sewing machine, and of course, National Cash Register. 1909 is also memorable because I was working for a true visionary, John Patterson, the founder of NCR. John decided to celebrate the company's 25th anniversary that year by giving one of his magic lantern slideshows. He called it Teaching Through the Eye. And he truly believed
There is nothing you cannot accomplish. I started this company when I saw the potential of an invention by James and John Riddick, two local saloon owners who recognized the need to keep their bartenders honest by creating a method of accountability in sales transactions. I took their incorruptible cashier from Dayton innovation to global success. Not that we didn't have obstacles. Early on, our cash registers were acting up, malfunctioning. So I moved my desk to the factory floor to find out why. And what I quickly saw was a dark and dirty environment. How are we going to produce quality mechanical machines in a place like this? So we are cleaning up our act, creating clean daylight factories with floor-to-ceiling windows to provide fresh air. For you, my employees, I've set up lending libraries, suggestion boxes, made medical care available in the factory with company doctors, provided hot soup and malted milk to keep you healthy, and developed trades programs for your children. And it's working. Productivity and quality are off the charts. We are now producing over 500 machines a day. You've read our motto all over the factory. One simple word. Think. I understand a prized employee, Mr. Thomas Watson, plans to use that exact slogan when he turns Dayton Computing Scale Company into something called IBM. Now that we are modernizing the way products are made, I thought, why not revolutionize the way we bring them to market? So we divided the marketplace into territories, established sales training classes, and a commissions program to reward success. We're pioneering direct mail, and I fashioned another brilliant slogan to be used on all our advertising. Get a receipt. I sure like the sound of that. Now, as I was saying,
He could go on for days about the glorious contributions he made to business, but he had the goods to back them. John Patterson is known as the father of American salesmanship for good reason. But he wasn't the only pioneer at NCR. There was another genius I had the pleasure of working alongside. His name was Charles F. Kennedy. We became fast friends, eventually collaborators and business partners. While at NCR, we developed the all-electric cash register for Mr. Patterson. Charles valued spending time with NCR's salesmen. He said it was the only way to truly discover what the customer wanted. And one of the best salesmen was a good friend, Richard Grant, who would make his mark on the business world as the enterprising leader of the Reynolds and Reynolds Company. Meanwhile, in 1909, we were working on a company of our own called Delco, Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company. Charles would come to my barn, sometimes with a few of our NCR co-workers, and we'd work long hours into the night, tinkering and laughing and challenging each other's ideas. Back when we were known as the Barn Gang, we had no idea we would change the future of transportation.
Edward, is that you? All right, let's get back to work, boys. Cadillac wants 5,000 of our new ignition systems for their 1910 model, and we're not going to disappoint them.
And we didn't. That was just the beginning.
Edward and his big ideas. First, he has me developing the OK credit phone and multi-department cash registers. Now he asks me, hey, if we can replace the crank on a cash register with an electrical motor, why can't we remove the crank from an automobile and replace it with an electric self-starter? What do you think, fellas? Can we figure it all out by 1912? I have to admit, it makes sense. Those cranks are inconvenient and unsafe. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put a hand crank in front of a ton of steel and horsepower, but it sure wasn't me. Okay, let's see. Less talking, more thinking. Only it weren't so hot.
It would be another 20 years or so before Charles and another fellow, Thomas Mitchell, synthesized a new miracle compound called Freon, changing the world once again with better and safer refrigeration and, best of all, air conditioning. Charles designed and installed one of the world's first central air conditioning systems in his house south of town. Just think of all the places in the world that became open for development once air conditioning made indoor spaces cool and comfortable. And he never stopped inventing. No knock-leaded gasoline, a pilotless missile for World War I, the two-cycle diesel locomotive engine. He even improved on his designs, creating the first all-electric starter, ignition, lighting system for cars. In his lifetime, Charles secured 140 patents, and they even put his photo on the cover of Time magazine. He was a great friend. So were the Wright brothers, Dayton's most famous sons. 1909 was the year I met Orville and Wilbur. Oh, what a pair they were. Right, Scipio? Now, in June of this particular year, 1909, the boys were invited to the Montgomery County Fairgrounds, where they were being honored by the entire city. Folks had traveled from all around the country to celebrate the success of their flying machine demonstrations all across Europe.
Hundreds of documented flights. I guess they're all believers now.
To think how far we've come since 1903, when we took our Dayton engineered and Dayton built apparatus to North Carolina. From Kitty Hawk to King of England.
To the White House. I was much more comfortable with President Taft than Edward VII. But now that that's over,
The entire town is waiting to celebrate us.
there will certainly be a lot more people there than ever saw our flights at Huff and Prairie.
That old cow pasture is where we really taught ourselves to fly. That first turn, then the first circle.
And then October 5th, 1905. You stayed up for almost 40 minutes, longer than the combined total of our previous 109 flights.
We finally had a machine capable of rising into the air, flying for an extended period under the complete control of the pilot, and returning safely to the ground.
The 1905 Wright Flyer 3 is the world's first practical airplane. It's one of the most extraordinary machines in the history of technology, and it's housed right here in my museum.
Now that we have a practical flying machine and a deal worked out with the government, the Army is expecting another demonstration next month.
Of course, but before that,
So we need to build a factory here in Dayton. We've outgrown the bicycle shop.
yes, but before that, you need to get dressed. There's an entire parade waiting for us.
Fine. But then it's back to work.
Work. Every remarkable accomplishment in Dayton's rich history was a result of hard work, dedication, and good old American ingenuity. People putting their personal capital at risk, dedicating their lives to accomplish something unprecedented and important. This still happens today with more recent Dayton innovations like LCD screens, barcode scanners, and magnetic strip data storage on credit cards. Even something as seemingly simple as Earl Fraser's aluminum can hot tub. Or groundbreaking innovations that changed the course of world history. During World War II, one of my employees, a brilliant engineer named Joseph Dash, developed a machine to break the Nazi Navy's four-rotor Enigma code. The tireless work of Dash, 600 U.S. Navy waves, right here in Dayton, helped to hasten the liberation of Europe. The War of the Pacific also came to a close thanks in part to local ingenuity. Dayton's role in the top-secret Manhattan Project built the device that triggered the atomic bomb, which forced Imperial Japan to surrender. That project was the beginning of a half-century of nuclear weapons research conducted in Dayton at Mound Laboratory. When the war was finally over, we aimed our sights upward toward the stars. NCR provided the Apollo mission's guidance system, while over at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, scientists and engineers developed its re-entry heat shield. And those free-fall parachutes that brought our space capsules in for safe splashdowns in the Pacific during the space race, well, the first successful modern parachute was developed right here at McCook Field, the U.S. Army's first aviation research center. Let's just stop and think about that. It took thousands of years for someone to build the first successful heavier-than-air piloted flying machine. But less than 66 years after the Wright boys first took flight, Ohioan Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. None of us lived long enough to witness that, but we were all there that day in spirit. Well, I could keep you all here for hours sharing the incredible accomplishments made by the people of this city, this remarkable city. Dayton has such a legacy. We've made the world better, smarter,
Faster, more efficient.
Safer, stronger.
More sophisticated, more artistic.
and more fun and adventurous.
And we're just getting started. The next major milestones, breakthroughs, well, those are up to you.
I've always said, high achievement always takes place in the framework of high expectation.
What will you design, create, develop, or produce to earn your place in history?
So that one day, future generations will come here to Carillon Park to learn about you.